Good morning, gorgeous. Yes, you. Welcome back to Rosie Rooted and Rising. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy this podcast and you keep coming back and spending this time with me. I want you to settle for a moment. However, you're coming into this space today, whether you're already on the move, walking, exercising, out with the dog, or your mind is moving ahead of you, running through everything you have to do today, or maybe you're carrying something a little heavier. I just want you to take a breath. Let those shoulders drop. Let your body soften just a little, because this conversation is not here to rush you. It's here to meet you, ladies. And then we're going to move forward. So let's get into it. Today's episode is titled, This is What It Looks Like to Move Aligned. And I want to be intentional about how we spend this time today. I'm not going to walk you back through what you already know. I'm not going to sit in awareness. We've done that work. Today is about movement, real movement. What it actually looks like when a woman is grounded in herself and starts making decisions from that place. Because alignment is one of those words that sounds good, but doesn't always feel clear in real life. So we're going to make it clear. Let's ground this in Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. I want you to hear that differently today. Waiting is not stillness. Waiting is not hesitation. Waiting is not putting your life on pause. Waiting is how a grounded woman moves without forcing it and without abandoning herself. So let's talk this out, not in theory, in real life. Alignment looks like this, ladies. You stop explaining what you've already decided. And I want you to stay right here for a minute, because this is something a lot of women don't realize they're doing. You make a decision internally, but then you keep talking about it. You keep explaining it. You keep trying to get people to understand it. And what that does, you know what that does? It weakens your own authority. Because now you're not just deciding, you're defending. Aligned movement says, I've made this decision and I'm going to honor it. Not loudly, not emotionally, just consistently. You don't need agreement to move forward. You need self-trust. Alignment also looks like this. You don't rush your response. You give yourself space, not because you're unsure, but because you respect your pace. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is quick. It's emotional. It's immediate. Responding is intentional. It has space in it. It has thought in it. It has awareness in it. And when you start moving aligned, you begin to notice that you don't need to answer everything right away. You just don't. You don't need to decide everything immediately, because you don't have to. You pause, and that pause changes everything. You notice what drains you, and you stop volunteering for it. And this one is subtle, because a lot of things that drain you, you've gotten used to. You've normalized them. You've built routines around them. You convinced yourself this is just how it is. What's the problem? But when you start moving aligned, you begin to pay attention differently. You notice how you feel after certain conversations. You notice how your energy shifts in certain environments. You notice what you say yes to that you didn't actually want to do. And instead of making a big announcement, you just stop. You don't overcommit. You don't overextend. You don't keep offering yourself in places that take more than they give, quietly, consistently. That's alignment. Alignment looks like this. You don't stay in spaces that require you to shrink. And this one requires honesty. Because shrinking doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it looks like you not saying what you really think, you adjusting your tone, you making yourself smaller so things stay comfortable. We're better than that, ladies. And over time, that becomes exhausting. Aligned movement says, I'm not going to keep adjusting myself to fit into something that no longer fits me. And that doesn't mean conflict. That doesn't mean confrontation. Sometimes it just means you change how you show up, sis, or you stop showing up altogether. Alignment looks like you stop chasing clarity through other people. You sit with yourself. And I know that sounds simple, but it's not always easy because we've been conditioned to look outside of ourselves, to ask, to check, to confirm. But alignment requires something different. It requires you to sit long enough to hear your own answers and trust it. Not because it's loud, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Alignment looks like this. You don't force what isn't moving. You don't overwork it. You don't overthink it. You don't keep trying to make something happen that is clearly not flowing. And this is where that scripture comes back. Because waiting, it's not about doing something. It's about recognizing when something is not yours to force and having the strength to step back, not out of fear, but out of alignment. You allow things to end without turning it into failure. And this one is big because endings can feel personal. They can feel like something went wrong, but not everything that ends is a loss. Sometimes it's completion, sometimes it's redirection, and sometimes it's growth. An aligned movement says, I can let this be what it was without trying to hold on to it longer than I should. And that takes strength. Alignment looks like this. You don't abandon your peace. You maintain connection. And I want you to sit here for a second because a lot of women have been taught to prioritize connection over everything, to keep the peace, to make it work, to hold things together. But there's a difference between keeping the peace and having peace. Aligned movements say, I'm not going to trade my peace to maintain something that disrupts it. And that doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it's a boundary. Sometimes it's distance from someone. Sometimes it's just silence. But it's intentional. Now I want you to notice something. None of this is dramatic. None of this requires a big announcement. This is quiet. This is steady. This is consistent. This is what it looks like to be grounded in yourself while your life is still unfolding. And this is where we want to come back to the scripture one more time. Be strong and take heart. Because this kind of movement requires strength. Strength to not rush. Strength to not explain. Strength to not go back just because it's familiar. Strength to trust your pace even when it doesn't look like anyone else's. So now I want to bring this back to you. Not in a way that overwhelms you. Not in a way that makes you feel like you need to change everything. Just one thing. Where in your life can you move a little more aligned? Not perfectly, Not completely, ladies, just intentionally. Maybe it's how you respond. Maybe it's what you say yes to. Maybe it's where you give your energy, but pick one and shift it. Because alignment doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, consistent decisions. And over time, those decisions change everything. If today's episode resonated with you, leave a review and share it with another woman who's rising or someone who needs this conversation. Follow the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next on Rosie Rooted and Rising. And I want you to leave me a comment on this question. What is one way you're choosing to move differently this week? Until next time, sis, y hermana, stay rooted, stay blessed, and keep rising. New episodes every Monday morning.